Operation Pronto is now live, man. We gotta. Attention. This is not a test. This is not a drill. Operation Pronto is now live. We gotta say a congratulations and celebration for Operation Pronto now being live. Classified intelligence will be revealed. Unauthorized minds are advised to leave immediately. If you're the type of person who needs a trigger warning before hearing the truth, I advise you to log out now. If you're the person that your emotions override your logic, you've already been compromised. If you still believe masculinity is toxic or that hard work is oppressive, this transmission is far above your clearance level. So, now we've been waiting for the moment in time right now. This is a broadcast for the select few, the chosen people, the focused, the forged. Welcome to the Frontlines. It's been amazing, really. You've just tapped into Operation Pronto, the encrypted channel for thinkers, builders, winners. I'm your host, Big Nathan, and this is not a podcast. This is a mission briefing. Every week I drop intel on power, money, mindset, culture, mental warfare, because the war is already happening. And most of you don't even know about it already. And I'd like to talk about something that's extremely important. First of all, fear is a reaction, but courage is a decision. Let's be clear. Most people react, but only a few people decide. Fear is an impulse, but courage is a demand. Fear is an impulse, and I would also say courage is a command. You feel fear, but you're supposed to choose courage. Fear is a reaction, but courage is a demand. What exactly is a demand? Because I said this before. I'll tell you exactly what a demand is. As a demand, you order, you assign, you obligate yourself to do what is required of you to do in the present moment in time, like an absolute monarchy. Fear says run, but courage says give yourself a command or a demand to advance and take on any insurmountable obstacle that's in your way. That is why you're on the front lines every single day. But nevertheless, what about confidence? I'll tell you exactly what confidence is. Confidence on the other side of things is something that is earned through repetition. But let's go back to our friend called courage. What is courage, to be exact? Before we even step into what courage is, you need to understand that courage is what is required before the repetition even begins. We're going to set these two across the same dichotomy, Confidence is on one side, courage is on another side. Confidence, that requires repetition, You need that repetition, but courage, that's required before the repetition even begins. You could understand what I'm saying. And I must crucially talk about something that's extremely important. First of all, how many of you know the story about Icarus? Yes, the mythical guy who his father made him wings made out of wax by his dad, He advised him not to fly too high or the sun will melt his wings. Icarus, he flew too close to the sun. Some say it was foolish. Maybe perhaps it was, It could have been foolish. But at least he tried. At least he tried to exceed his potential. It is far more better for you to know that he went and pushed his limits rather than staying crawling on the ground because of fear. I'm going back to what I said about fear. But an alternative, staying grounded, staying safe, living ordinary, hiding, and not trying to shine when you have that light inside of you as a person? Is that something you want for your life? Like, are you being serious right now? Like, are you a moron? Is there something wrong with you? At least try your best to fly to the middle. I am begging. I am trying my best to convince you to fly at least to the middle to win. I don't know what your goals are, but you have to fly at least with courage and put away all that fear that you already have. Some of you are far too humble and others are fearful. And the contingent of the population right now is, I don't know, it's like some of you try your best to run away from things that you should be challenging yourself with. And you don't want to fly to achieve the goals that you set out for yourself. I'm convinced that a conundrum right now is this. Most people want everything to be easy. Not just easy, but they want a smooth sail. The weak look for an exit, but the strong, they look for the door in. We're living in a generation that wants results without resistance. But here's the law. I'm gonna put it out plain and simple, as conspicuous as possible for you to see and understand. There is no easy job. There is no easy win. There is no easy life. Every security guard, we could think about all the jobs that people think you get paid to do practically nothing. For instance, a security guard, they risk their lives countless of times. Every entrepreneur cry to silence every single day with hard times. Even athletes go through private storms and run countless of miles. So don't fantasize about ease. Prepare for endurance. You, as a well-respected person, you don't beat life with shortcuts. You beat it with strategy and force. No vote, no debate, no internal conflict, no questions, no conundrum, only command. And that's the only way you want your life to be. You want to be a person that has and needs courage. Another thing that's extremely important I have to talk about: how the powerful people right now profit from war. And I know a lot of you right now, you're sitting here saying, World War III is about to happen. All these wars happening, the proxy wars, the trade wars, the actual wars that's happening in multiple countries. I need to tell you right now, war right now is profitable for people in powerful positions. That is why there's so many of them. Let me pull the curtain back for a minute. You ever wonder why the richest people on earth, presidents, prime ministers, monarchs, oligarchs, the CEOs, stay rich during the war? Think about it for a second. War. I just have to tell you the answer straight away. Because war is a business. And war is simply put something that they just want. War is a business and business is war. Every single bomb you see that gets dropped on every single people is a price tag. Every bullet is a sale. Every drone strike, that's a contract. Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Boeing. These are not just defense companies, they're profit machines. Governments funnel billions into military aid. The money that you see right now goes straight into weapon manufacturers who just happen to donate to political campaigns. Yes, they donate to political campaigns. And you think these people are not running business for war? You think these people are not earning money through the war that they put their fellow civilians to go die on the front lines for? Meanwhile, yes, I'm talking about you pay with taxes, you pay with inflation, and some of you who are unlucky and really unfortunate to be in the circumstance of being in the front lines of these wars, you pay with your life. A lot of these people in high power positions, they view these wars as business, and they see the rest of the population as a number. And honestly speaking, I find it completely asinine that we've let our society in such a complete monstrous vicious cycle, But I want you to take something and remember this. If war didn't make people rich, there wouldn't. If war didn't make people rich, there wouldn't be so many of them. taken a step back to really think about this for quite some time. If war didn't make people rich, there wouldn't be so many of them. That is why all these major countries, presidents, globes, politicians, whoever, they are the ones who are funding these wars. They are the ones. This isn't a conspiracy. This is the follow for the money. The same men who preach peace, they have countless portfolios of tanks, missiles, oil. War is no longer tragedy. It's strategy, cold, calculated, and corporatized. So ask yourself this question. Are you a pawn, or are you learning how the board, yes, I'm talking about the chessboard, works? I'm going to talk about something in a different aspect right now. Global flashpoint. The US and the EU trade explosion, Let's talk about the truth for a single minute, Just a little break, Not a noise, nothing to really explode your brains for a little minute, I know I'm the wisest man in the world right now, and I just have to, calm you down for a little second. On July 9th, the US threatened 30% of tariffs on EU and Canadian imports. Europe fired back. They invoked anti-coercion measures, preparing counter tariffs. Allies, however, in Japan and the UK are now caught up in this crossfire, facing disruption, while Washington plays strategic toughness. Here's the real intel. This isn't about the fair trade. It is not about job protection. It's complete economic warfare, artificially engineered for instability, market manipulation, and debt control. If you pay attention to this news that comes out on a regular basis, you will understand what I'm saying. And I find it completely asinine that these things still happen to this day. But now, let's take a step back. Who ends up paying for all these wars that happen? All these trade wars, all these tariffs and whatever that happens? It is you. It is you. Through higher prices, through inflation, through lost jobs. They call it protectionism. I call it profitism. Remember, I'm going to say this again. If war didn't make people rich, there wouldn't be so many of them. This is your battlefield. This is your economy. Treat it like it matters, because it does. And I'm going to go into a different segment that is crucial. So listen carefully. And I'm going to say something that's extremely important. So listen carefully. This segment, I'm going to talk about something that really, it's a little story that came up quite maybe 2 months ago. But let me go by saying this right now. A sign that you're not going to go far in life, or a sign that you're already going down the wrong pathway in life, is that you're quick to sell anything for a quick buck. And when I say sell anything for a quick buck, I'm not talking about being a salesman. I'm talking about when you hit a little challenge or bump in the road, you start selling all the furniture that you own. You start selling your toothbrush. You start selling so many things. And by anything, I mean, if something little happens, like you're behind on some kind of freaking payment, you start to bargain yourself to put yourself on the marketplace to start selling anything that you see in the vicinity of you. I'd like to talk about a story, A friend of mine that I haven't spoken to in about 2 years, he called me the other day. He said, honestly, we haven't caught up, so we decided to catch up for some time, He told me about so many things that he was going through, and he told me by verbatim, he said, "Hey man, you wouldn't believe, man, the other day I had no gas in my car, and I done meet this chick on Tinder, and I had no gas in my car, and I had to meet her, so I went on Facebook Marketplace, and shit, I sold my TV just so I could put some gas in my car, so I could go link up with my best shorty." Are you fucking stupid? Like, are you a moron? You had no gas in your car and you start to sell your personal belongings. You sell your dignity, you lose the game. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a sign. Someone is going down the wrong direction. Just like I said before, the moment you hit a small bump inside of any road journey that you're already headed to, they sell every single thing that they own. I'm talking about their shoes. I'm talking about their clothes, their TV, their fridge, their cow, their goat, their couch, their pet, their bag, their underwear, their values, their dignity, their toothbrush, their toothpaste. And eventually, what else are they going to sell? They're going to sell their soul. Is that what you want from your life? Like, is that really what you want from your life? You hit a little bump in the road and you start selling everything? And I know someone somewhere right now could be saying, hey, I sold my toothbrush and I was able to buy Bitcoin. Are you stupid? It's not about what you sell. I'm trying to tell you something right now. There could be possibly something wrong with you, but I'm going to fix it for a second. It's not what you sold. It's what it represented. Your self-worth, your standards, your soul. If you're quick to trade your dignity for survival, you're already lost. Survival without self-respect, that's just slow death. And let's go back to my friend that called me. I know it's besides the whole point. But I will tell you right now, that's a man, you have to put your priorities in order. You can't be talking about, oh yeah, I gotta go link up with a shorty. That doesn't even make sense. I would like to talk about a passage I read in the Bible, just to, end this whole little section and segment, A noble man once went to receive his kingdom. And yes, this is Luke chapter 19, verse 12 to 27. This is a very important point, important scripture. I like to always end some of my videos with a Bible quote, a little passage for you to really put in your heads. Jesus told a parable, he talked about a nobleman who went to a distant country to receive the kingdom for himself. But the citizens said, we will not have this man rule over us. He ignored the hate. He didn't argue. He just did one simple choice, which is something a lot of you people have to do. If you hit any challenge or bump in the road, I want you to go straight to the throne room of God. He, the nobleman, he went to the throne room of God and he got his verdict. And when he returned, he said, not only his verdicts, he got his kingdom. God gave him his kingdom or whatever, And when he returned back to those people that hated on him, those people that said, we will not have you rule over us, he got back his kingship or whatever they want to call it. But he said, where are those my enemies that said I will not reign over them? He said, bring them here and slay them before me. It's not about ego. It's about destiny. It's about God's calling for your life. You may be asking, why am I telling you this right now? I'm telling you this because I want you to know something. I'll tell you exactly why. If you ever have a major problem down in the road on your journey, I want you to go straight to God for your answers. If you go to the throne room of God, spiritually, you ask God for anything that you want, I'm telling you right now, that's where real men go for their answers. Not the comment section, not their friends, not their fears, but going straight to God for your answers. If you want the crown, you better be ready for the crossfire. And there's no soft way to the finish line. And by this right now, you've just reached the end of the episode of Operation Pronto. This is the first mission briefing, but this is just the first strike. And I know that you're watching this right now, but Operation Pronto is now a movement. And whether you're listening from a penthouse, a prison cell, a garage, a basement, whatever you want to call it, you're not alone in this war. I'm Big Nathan. I'm in this war with you, and God is with you in this war, whatever you're going through. I'll see you next week. Same channel, same code. Stay sharp, stay dangerous, stay righteous. Pronto out.